Imagine that right now, the walls of your room begin to vibrate, not with sound, but with a vibrant lemon yellow color. You reach out to touch your face, but your arms feel infinitely long, and your fingers seem like foreign, massive objects with a life of their own. This isn't a description of a drug trip or a scene from a thriller. This is something you have already lived through. It was your first and deepest experience of reality, which your brain chose to erase from your memory just so you could survive. We're used to thinking that we're born into this world as a blank slate, upon which a picture gradually emerges. We believe our eyes see, our ears hear, and our skin feels, and that these are three different roads leading to the brain. But the truth is, at the beginning of the journey, these roads do not exist. There is only one swirling neon ocean of sensations. Welcome to the Alice effect. Most people are convinced a baby is just a small, inexperienced copy of an adult, that they see the world just like we do, only a bit blurry. But science says otherwise. At the universities of Oxford and Toronto, researchers have spent decades studying the phenomenon of synesthesia, a state where the senses mix, and the data is shocking. We were all born synesthetes. In the first months of life, your brain was like a short circuit in old wiring, where sparks from sound set fire to your eyes. What researchers discovered during brain visual mapping experiments changed everything. In newborns, the neural connections between the auditory cortex and the visual zone are intertwined in one dense knot. Think of it as a telephone exchange where all the wires are tangled. When a mother says hello, the baby doesn't just hear a sound. They see that sound as a flash of light or feel it as a tactile touch on their skin. They literally taste the world through their ears. But this is where it gets even stranger. Have you ever noticed how suddenly and sometimes frighteningly babies react to sharp, contrasting colors? Why a bright red toy might cause them not joy, but a real electrical pulse of stress, turning into tears. This isn't a whim. For an unformed brain, a bright color can sound like a deafening explosion. It is sensory overload, where a visual signal hits the auditory centers with incredible intensity. Recall an experiment that seems almost mystical. In a dark room, babies were played pure tones of different pitches. Sensors recorded activity not only in the auditory zone, but also in the visual one. The higher the sound, the brighter the image inside their heads became. Have you ever wondered why we instinctively change our voice to a high-pitched sing-song tone when talking to children? We are subconsciously trying to paint their world in light colors to avoid causing a dark, heavy sensory storm. You aren't just watching this from the side. Within you, the remnants of this chaos still live. Have you ever noticed that some sounds seem sharp to you, while others are soft? Why does the sight of a lemon make your mouth water, even if you aren't eating it? This is the echo of that very Alice effect. Your brain has done a colossal job building walls between the senses, creating insulation for the wires so that you wouldn't go mad from the intensity of existence. But there is an even deeper layer. Psychologists call this ego fragmentation. A baby doesn't understand where their hand ends and the bed begins. When they look at their fingers, they seem like distant mountains or strange creatures. It is complete spatial disorientation. At that moment, their consciousness is pure energy, not locked in a cage of logic and physical boundaries. There is a hidden risk that is rarely spoken of. If these walls between the senses aren't built in time, or are built incorrectly, a person remains in this world of tangled wires forever. This is the true nature of adult synesthesia. But for most of us, this gift was sacrificed for the ability to understand the structure of reality. We traded magic, where music can be touched with your hands, for the dull ability to simply hear it. We journey from divine chaos to a strict dictatorship of the five senses. And sometimes, in moments of extreme fatigue or while falling asleep, you might catch that moment when the sound of footsteps in the corridor suddenly flashes before your eyes as a bright dot. It is your inner infant peeking out from behind the built walls for a split second. Have you ever felt that the world around you suddenly becomes too loud or too bright for no apparent reason? Perhaps your filters failed for a moment. In the next video, we will explore why our brain makes us see faces in inanimate objects and how this survival error controls your purchases right now. Stay conscious.